on. So we need to aggregate, we need to observe, and we need to plan, and we have to see how we can reduce the latency factor. And I was talking in one of the cloud computing related event, time as a service. No one is selling. Time is the most critical factor in human life. There is nothing important for a human more than the time. There is no company or there is no business where they are saying there are some seasonal businesses which only runs in a specific time, in a specific season. So we need to have those kind of facilities which will allow the business to run in this particular time frame itself. So we need to have those kind of business strategies. Somebody has to come up and they have to provide all the resources which is needed for that particular time, for that particular segment, or for that particular sector, or for that particular geographical location, or for that particular segment. So this is one of the things which the entrepreneur, they need to think about it. So as you can see that there are different ways, there are different thoughts, there are different perspectives. Everybody is looking at the technology. Everybody is looking at the way how the big data the life cycle happens. It's different. Now what I see, like all the information is coming from everywhere, from your enterprise data warehouse. You are getting the data from the blogs. You are getting the data from your tweets, social media. You are getting the data from the scientific sources. You are getting the data. So based on your different business, you are getting the data from everywhere. So what you are doing, you are actually capturing the data, or you are collecting the data, and you are trying to store at a temporary place where you can massage the data. So it is not only the data which is related to your business, enterprise data, but also all the data which is available. So all the data is being fetched, it is being captured, and we are trying to store. Why we are storing? To see, to organize, to clean, to enrich, or to aggregate. And while we are doing all these activities, our focus should be on our mission, our goal. What is your business need? What is the value you can add? So value is the driving force. Your target, what are your business goals? That's what it is important. And then you try to coordinate, you try to visualize, you try to explore what data need to be taken in order to add the value to my business, to achieve this particular goal for my business, and so on. And then you corporatize, you just make the decision. This is what it is important for me today, and this is what it can add value to myself, to my organization, and then you just go accordingly. So value is the driving force. That's what I am saying. How the value can be driven, this is what it is, and how the target can be achieved, that should be our mission. So while you do any activity, there is nothing like a separate technology and business is separate. No, I am a business analyst and somebody is like a technology analyst. No. Business is the driving force. Technology should complement, should catalyze the thing which you are doing. It's a tool which can really help the business to grow, to achieve your goals and targets. And that's what I'm talking about. So you see, data is being used. So everybody want to use the data. Users are getting increased. Locations are getting increased. External and internal suppliers and consumers are getting increased. And the sources are getting increased. Integration is getting increased. And opportunities also, of course, is getting increased. So it is not just about capturing whatever the data is there as a big data and every data has the value. No. But whatever the data which was not considered as a valuable data, yes, now the companies and now with the consumerized IT, everything, it could add value. The data is there, but the value is not there. So we need to focus on the value side rather on the data. What Mr. Dennis was saying in today's, I like it. He said, I don't care about the big data. It is about the quality of data. The quality, what it matters. It's not about the quantity. the quality what can help me, help my business, and help everyone. This is what it matters. And the same thing I would like to emphasize more in this slide, and then I will go to the information and the other stuff. Here, as you can see here in this particular slide, collect. So you are collecting the data, and you are processing the data, and you are managing the data. And once you manage the data, it is not just about whatever the data is there you are managing, but it is about you manage the data and you are measuring the data. Whatever your actual goal, whatever was your actual target, whatever was your actual initiative, are we in line with that? So you need to check and measure. And what you see, this particular cycle, it is not gonna end, this particular cycle. And then you consume the data. You take the data what you think is important today. But it is not just about one-time decision. I have taken this particular data, and the other data which I have ignored today, it may not be useful in the future. Yes, it may be useful. So this is like a continuous process. You consume and then you store the data which you think it is relevant. You call in the production systems where you have like a smart solutions which are being provided by different vendors, whether it's EMC, IBM, and so on. There are different techniques, they have different approaches where the data can be stored in a way it can make more meaningful to your business. The data can be fetched on real-time basis with a less latency and so on. And that data you can transform. Now the data is available to you. Now this particular data, it is ready to add value. It is ready to transform. Not only you consume that particular data which you have done that exercise, but also you can even give certain data if your company or your business into that particular, and you can sell certain data which you have already computed. And then it's like a corporatization. It's like a corporatize. It is like your own data where you have started from the collection until now whatever you have made an investment by taking your business oriented data by the different data sources from different data sources. Now it is your own data. So now you can make the money, or you can share with the other companies as well who may need the data. So it is not just about like reinventing the wheel. Whatever the data you have computed, you can even serve to the other business. From the financially, you can generate revenue, or from the humanitarian point of view, you can share the data. And this cycle, it continues. There is nothing like one time you have done, the cycle starts from the collection and it ends from the store. The cycle, again the collection of data, it is happening. And this is the delivery model. And all need to be governance. It has to have the governance. Governance has to happen even at the time of collection. Governance has to happen at the time of processing even. And so on. And I believe for this particular, when you talk about any business, you are talking about a process. Each business, each initiative what we are taking today, it has a certain business. It has a set of processes. When you have certain set of processes, that is the business we are talking about. Even as an operating system. Your operating system is nothing but it is a set of APIs. So once you have those kind of attributes, then you will be able to conduct and you will be able to do the things which you are doing. Six Sigma, when you have a defined process in place, you have the DMAC process where you are defining, you are measuring, analyzing, improving, and controlling. That Six Sigma process has to happen even at the initiation level itself. So I don't differentiate. The technology is different and the business is different. Whatever we do initiative, the business has to come first, but the technology has to complement the PMI methodologies. Whatever we do, we have to have a clear scope. We have to have the clear timelines. We have to have a clear cost. And we have to see whether this particular goal can be achieved within the respective time. I am delivering a goal, I am delivering a certain objective where the project has been initiated. But At the time when it has no value, something came up. And IT it's a dynamic industry where things will change. IT makes the business to change their way of doing things. It changes the human life even. So what I am saying here, even when you are when you are doing any kind of modeling or process or no matter what, you have to use the Six Sigma as well or something else. For the risk management, you use TOGAF, you use something else. So in my at the end of my slide, I will try to touch a little bit on the cloud side, and I will try to see because this is like one of the framework I would like to propose. So organizations are business driven. Processes involve big data. You are talking about collection of data, storing of data, analyzing and sharing. This is what every business is talking about nowadays. It's about capturing, collection, store, analyze and govern. So everyone has their own way. They have their own delivery model. And it is growing industry. Even we talk about the cloud maturity. We talk about the big data. The cloud itself is being evolved. There is no single clear specific definition on the cloud. So the cloud is being evolved. It's about the evolution, and at the same time it is like a revolution. As per the Gartner, there are three top 10, among top 10, there are three major things are happening in terms of IT modernization. One is the BI and analytics, which is I consider as a subset of the big data. The second is mobile technology, and the third is the cloud. Here in this particular thing, what I am trying to say here, information controlled world, where we are staying in an information world, where the real world, it is made up of certain information. I was saying every object in the universe, it is considered to be as a universal data objects. Whatever we see in our life, we have like an input. We came in, we have taken birth, and we are here. And we do something, and we deliver something. So there is an input, there is a control or processing, and there is output. From the PMI methodological point of view, all the knowledge areas what you have, there is input, there is a tools and techniques are applied, and there is an output. So the same thing I am trying to say over here. Compute. So whatever the information is there, you are applying certain actions on that particular information. And once you apply certain actions, when the data is being computed, you have an intelligent structured data. You have an output. It's like a transformation, and you are adding value. There are so many CIOs, Chief Information Officer. Yes, I consider information is important, like anybody else. Information is like a butter and bread. Information is like an air which we breathe. But what is the use of information which you cannot act on it? You cannot take actions based on the information which has been given to you. We have received an information, but we are not taking any action on that. And the actions what we take, that is a knowledge. So knowledge is more important than the information. Yes, information is the source. Without information, you cannot come up, you cannot complement, you cannot serve to the humanity, you cannot serve to your family, you cannot serve to your business. But knowledge is the thing why the information has been given to a human being. And Google Glass, I just give an example. What they said, it's like reducing the gap between the real world and the virtual world. Just you put the glass and you see to the world, and the same information you can get it from the virtual world itself. So it's like one of the initiative where they want to access the information without disconnecting from the real world. That was an objective. I am a neutral speaker. I will not be biased to any product or any vendor. But what I like and whatever the things I see which is right, which can complement, which can contribute to the business, which can contribute to the society, which can contribute to the humanity, and that's what I am going to talk. and this is my last slide actually. Here I am trying to introduce a kind of framework. Although there has been so many frameworks has been introduced, and I saw, and it has a value, and everybody have their own perspective on that particular thing. If you are delivering a framework for a technology audience, or you are delivering a framework for a developer audience, it differs. From my side, what I see, like the cloud is there, and the people are talking about the big data and the cloud. Cloud is something, it's like a platform where you have an infrastructure which can really compute and bring the value. But you have to know what is the value you are going to drive from that data which is there available for you. Nobody will come and tell you, okay, this is the value the information is there. So maybe you can consider it's like a redundant information. You can use map reduce, and so many other techniques are there where you bring the information, you normalize, you try to map it and come up with the primary keys and distribute that particular across different cluster of nodes, and let that to compute, and then you see what is the value you can drive. But the driving force has to be the value. The driving force has to be the objective, what you have initiated, what you are doing from the project management, from the Six Sigma point of view. In this particular, this one I call as a ninja. It's like a framework, an approach driven from the best of breed methodologies, framework, and industrial best practices. So what I am proposing here, you take the PMI as a methodology where they are good in certain areas. They will help you to define what are the goals, what are the objectives, how that particular goal can be achieved, what are the constraints you have, those kind of things. Take from the Six Sigma, the business processing. There are debug method for the existing process. For the new process, there is another process. So what I say here, the first step, and this particular framework, it is not for the public cloud. It is about the private and hybrid cloud, where you have something can be done which is under your control. So what I am saying here, it's like a define goals and orchestrate a typical cloud-ready architecture and align with your organizational strategies. You have an organization strategy, and that organization strategy will be, the CIO will translate into IT strategy. The marketing executive, chief marketing officer will translate to the marketing strategy, and so on. So it is not about the technology. Cloud is not just about the technology, it is about the business benefit as well. Cloud is providing a platform, it has providing a computational power where you can compute an enormous amount of data which is there, which is being generated from your organization, from the social media, and from different sources. But you have to know what you want. And before you actually jump in, what I am saying here, you do the assessment, whatever you have, with regards to the private cloud, with regards to the hybrid cloud. So IT infrastructure assessment and its simplification. There are a lot of companies, there are a lot of hardware in the data center, there are a lot of applications which has been running, and no one cares, no one has another thought. Since it was running, so it is keep on running. So we have to give another thought and see what are the applications, what are the hardware we have to retire. I think the Gartner lady, her name is Annie or something, she was saying it's like anti-pattern. So it is not about complementing, it is going against your strategy. It will hurt your business in the future. So those anti-patterns need to be identified, and it has to be eliminated. And you have to have a clear roadmap, what you want to achieve. And capacity planning. So you have to check your sustainability, and you have to check your growth. What could be your growth? Automation and integration. There is in the cloud side, there are different companies. They have their own. They have their own life cycle. Before you go to the cloud, you have to start with the standard alignment, and you have to have an improvement, and then there is a transformation. So that particular cycle has to happen. And there are companies who is doing alignment, standardization and virtualization. Virtualization should not happen. Once you see what are the SQL servers you have in your data center, what are the applications you have to standardize those protocols, you have to standardize those languages, you have to standardize those versions of database, you have to standardize those APIs and things like that. Although in the SOA architecture we talk about the reusability, that's the key component. But what is happening? We are not going in line with the SOA architecture with regards to the cloud. Every company have their own set of APIs. All the major forces, they have their own set of APIs. What is the knowledge is being used for my developer, with a cloud provider, the same knowledge cannot be used with the other vendor. So he has a different patterns and he has different APIs and there is a different semantics. So all those need to be unified. So it is not just about, when you talk about the public cloud, it is not just about the technology when you talk about the cloud or you talk about the big data. Same action at different geographic locations. You are one place you are complying and other place you are contradicting. Same data I have, what data I can access in UK, the same data I may not be able to access in the other region, other part of the world, because it is beyond the other jurisdiction. So it is not just about the technology, but also it is about the business, it is about the regulations, it is about the laws which are in place. So when you are talking about different applications, yes, cloud is there. There was like a web hosting. So there has to be a difference between the web hosting or the managed services, what we call, and between the cloud. So cloud has to provide certain characteristics, certain feasibility, certain elasticity. As and when I can grow, I can have the elasticity of growing up. I pay as I go. Those kind of attributes has to be there. Where are the attributes? We are talking about interconnectivity. We are talking about connecting different networks. Those are the things which are still, it's being evolved. There has to be a common federated law with regards to the cloud. There has to be a common framework. Otherwise, there is we are creating more silos than any other time. What we see today, customers are more confused. Although we are talking about any device, anywhere, on any platform and all of that but are we really doing that at the moment? Every service provider, solution provider is providing an access so that you can access their service at different platforms, whether it's a desktop, tablets, iPhone or any smartphone or anything as such. But in reality, everybody have their own. It's like we are actually creating more confusion instead of unifying and clarifying. So those kind of challenges need to be solved. It is not what is happening, it is good for us. It is good for the customers. It is good for the vendors. Performance, scalability and elasticity. Of course, you have to have those cloud computing the characteristics where you have an optimal performance. Although there are SLAs, but I don't know to whom I should catch when there is a crisis has happened. So at the time when we have the crisis, your vendor has to be with you. He should support you. He should make sure that your business is up and running. There are so many, even SLAs is a big world of, there is a lot of things are happening with regards to the SLA. So the person who makes the SLA, he should be very smart enough, he should understand. As per the Gartner, they are proposing or promoting like a brokerage service, where all those customers, they can go to their brokerage, and that brokerage he knows all those cloud vendors. So he will make sure that the service will be up and running at the time when you need. Security and control. Security, privacy and control is Of course, it is something which has to be there. You talk about the governance, you talk about the security, you talk about the privacy even. Privacy is one of the things which most of the time it misses the shot. Privacy, my data, where I am hosting my data as a consumer, yes, the data is secure. But how I can be sure that my data is not being fetched by the other customer? It is not being compromised by some other with some other vendor. Those kind of things. So there has to be an open regulatory laws which has to happen with regards to the privacy. We only focus on the security. So privacy is one of the component of security, but privacy has its own way. How about if my data is being shared with my competitor? So it's like a grave mistake. I may lose my business. I may lose my credibility. And risk realm, of course, ERM, enterprise risk management, and so on, we call risk is one of the major thing where you talk about the time related risk, cost related risk, or the quality related where you are talking about the meeting the expectations. And I talk about the business process expectations and governance and compliance and the cloud. So cloud is about the cloud. It's a journey where you have the evolution, and it is revolutionizing the world. And because of the cloud, now we can think about the reality of the big data, the data which is there, which was there. Now the data is in enormous quantity at the moment. Now this data can add value, but you have to know what is the value you want to derive from this data which is there with you. So the data is there, but the value, it is you who should drive, who should go for it. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you.